Lynette Anderson, and I'm in my studio on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland. I know you're about to get ready with your new gorgeous My Country house, the Block of the Month quilt from the Quilt Show. One of the things that you're going to need to do fairly early on is to make some bias stems. And so what I want to do is show you some bias stems. Now this quilt has some bias stems on it. They're very similar to the ones that are on the Quilt Show Block of the Month. Cute little stems. And I'm going to show you how the easiest way that I know to make them. I'm going to be working with some perfect stems. Now the pack comes with various different widths in there, so it's up to you to choose what size you want to make. What you need to remember is once you've chosen the stem width that you want, you need to cut 5 times the width of the bias bar here that I've got. So 5 times the width. We're going to take a piece of fabric and you'll be amazed at how much you can get out of a small piece of fabric. I've got a square here. I'm going to fold it in half across. What we need is across the width of the grain so that we're going to cut on the bias. And I'm going to just press with my hand so that I've got a nice finger crease so I can see where to cut. I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to cut on that finger press fold. Just simply cut. Then remembering you're going to cut 5 times the width of your bias stem. So this is 1/4 inch. I'm going to cut 1 1/4 inch width strips. And I'm just going to cut across the width of my fabric so that I've got several pieces. Take each strip, fold it in half right sides together, and then you're going to go to your sewing machine and you're going to stitch a scant 1/4 inch seam. And you're going to, the scant 1/4 inch seam, the cut edge is the edge of your thing, the stitching is going to come in a little bit closer. So here's one that I've stitched, and you can see I've got my scant 1/4 inch seam all the way down here. Once you've done that with all of your strips, you can take each strip and using your perfect scissors, which aren't just called perfect scissors because of their soft handles, they've got that fabulous micro serrated edge which makes them very sharp. You are going to cut the seam allowance as close as you dare to that stitched line. And you're going to cut that right off. Once you've done that, you're going to take your bias stem and you're going to slide it into the little tube. And as you slide it in, I suggest you work on your ironing board. You're going to roll the stitched seam to the center back. And as you do that, you are going to press with a very, very hot iron. Sometimes I find I need to use a little spray starch to keep this pressed in. You're just going to slide that in and press it so that seam is at the back. And you're going to end up with a whole load of long strips that are stretchy. You can bend them in any direction that you want. That seam's on the back. It is now ready to put into position, and I would use Roxanne's glue or something, or pins to hold it in place, and then you can stitch it down either by machine or by hand. Thanks for joining me to learn how to make bias stems. I look forward to seeing you next month.